Hello. My name is Patricia Okumo. I'm the lady that climbed the Statue of Liberty. Since I only have 5 minutes, I've chosen to go over some of my old speeches. So let's get right to it. Thank you for coming, first of all. So a quick while ago, you know I'm an activist, and I'm a full-time activist, and I do that on purpose. Because if I was working 9 to 5, I wouldn't be on Donald Trump. So I'm a full-time activist to make sure I remind the public, especially Donald Trump and his administration, that I'm against his concentration camps. All right, in all seriousness, this current administration has engaged in child kidnapping and endangerment, physical and sexual abuse, emotional distress, and financial exploitation. Due to these human rights violations, I call upon the United Nations and our elected officials to hold another Nuremberg. That's for those who don't know, our war crimes, like tribunals. Because we are facing crimes against humanity. We are facing a humanitarian crisis. It is critical that you remain silent no more. I demand an end to cruelties, the criminalization of legal and undocumented immigrants and asylum seekers and their children. Do not cage our children. Because migration is a human right, as citizens of democracy, I urge you to fight against bigotry, oppression, persecution, xenophobia, racism, and yes, a heinous and barbaric administration. Nobody is illegal on stolen land, let's face it. We are all immigrants. Let me remind you, George Orwell writes, "If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear." So by that, I say my approach is be bold and courageous. I'm not asking people to go and climb monuments. I'm saying, look inside your heart, seek that inner calling. For me, on that day on the Statue of Liberty, well, let's go back a little bit. On April, I joined Rise and Resist. On the day I joined this group, there were 3 people with a big banner that says, "Abolish ICE." I was like, wow, this is something. And it was about immigration. I was very much interested in our direct actions. That's what we do as activists. We plan and we get out there on the street. We do whatever it takes to call attention into the issues we are fighting so hard for. So going back to the inner self, I told God, is this message from you, or am I just listening to voices? Because I don't hear voices, I don't listen to voices. And he said, well, he or she, my God, says, my creator, there are 3 things happening. It's the 4th of July, the biggest Independence Day ever, the biggest holiday ever in our history. And Rise and Resist was going to be on Liberty Island, which I've never been there before, although I live on Staten Island and I take the ferry all the time. I see tourists, I see the Statue of Liberty, but the meaning behind that monument has been forgotten and lost. What she stands for: liberty, freedom, welcoming, immigration, prosperity, and happiness, our future. So it's always been a sad viewing because people come and take pictures. And the 3rd element was, there were children in cages and I couldn't live with that. I said to myself, enough. I will sacrifice my life for these children because what is being done to them is wrong. It's cruel, it's inhumane. So I said, okay. But then by the time we got to the Liberty Island and some people were arrested, I was part of the civil disobedience, but I had told my group, I'm not gonna get arrested. Last year I was arrested by this officer in one of those cases that looks like unconscious bias, just because somebody feels superior and you're inferior and they feel like it, they call the cops on you. And the cops come, instead of de-escalating, they escalate the situation. I'm not the type you can bully. You can tell, right? So I say to Rise and Resist, I'm not getting arrested. Okay, fine. We went there and I was involved in the civil disobedience. I slipped away, and that was my sign. God was going to show me his mission. When I got up there on the pedestal, I said, okay, so now how do I get there? And he made it possible. It was possible. I didn't expect the worldwide attention this was going to call, that I would be on the news all over the place. So since then, I've just been continuing the work. My activism didn't start on the 4th of July. It didn't stop then, and it continues. In fact, I'm going to read you something. Is that my time?
Time.
Time is up, sorry. But thank you for being here.